Hello, welcome to another project update. So, surprise, I was able to work on the project today. I was a little bit worried I'd be a little bit too busy, but luckily, I did have time today. So, technically, I did this yesterday, but I didn't have time to record it. But I created um, a few animations for this character, for this character model. It's used for multiple characters. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I have a bunch here. All right, so I have a laying face down pose. This is technically something that already existed, but originally it was part of a different animation called collapse. And what I would do is I would play the animation. Oh, sorry, it's not supposed to loop. I'd play the animation and then just leave it on the last frame, which is what Godot does. If you don't set the animation to loop, it just kind of leaves you on the last frame. But there are situations where I actually just wanted this pose. So I created a quote unquote animation, not really an animation because it's just got one frame of the character laying face down. I thought, hey, I also need one for him laying face up, so I created one. Here's laying face up. And a few other animations that I made. Let's see. So this is an animation for him getting dragged on the ground by his shoulders. So just pretend there's like another character behind him who's like holding on to him, pulling him backwards. Doesn't look great, but I think it'll work. I think it'll look better when it's like in motion in the actual game. And here is another one, which is like the equivalent of the character holding the character and dragging him backwards. Oh, and just realized his tail is pointing face down when it shouldn't be. So just kind of imagine that he's like dragging someone backwards. Hold on, actually, let's fix the tail right now. Okay, visual origins. Let's delete all these keyframes and create a transform. All right, that looks, well, it's passable. It's not supposed to, I didn't really need it to be super fancy. I just needed to work in the context of the cutscene. So if you're wondering what these animations are going to be for, they are going to be for a scene in this animation where this guy grabs this guy, and then it's not there yet, but what he's going to do is he's going to grab onto him and drag him away from the conflict that's happening. So another thing that I've been working on, oh, sorry, there's a bit of blood there. So there's a little bit of a scene over here where these guys are shooting at these guys. What I want is for there to be some particle effects of the bullets kind of plinking off of this this thing here. What I've done is I've created some a particle effect and some textures for the particle effect. Oh, little too zoomed in there. All right, that's pretty much it. It's not really a particle. It's more like it spawns one particle, and that one particle has like this animated texture on it where it plays all these frames. And yeah, that's meant to represent the bullet impacting the surface of the I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's like this boss character, this incinerator bot. Yeah, so it's going to be like bullets plinking off of it. And that's pretty much it for today's video, I think. It actually took me a long time to figure out how to do like an embarrassingly long time for me to figure out how to get the particle effect working with the animated texture. It wasn't super straightforward. It was a little bit obscure. So it turns out there's a few systems in Godot 3.6, as I'm using an old version of Godot. I'll upgrade at some point later. There's a few methods of setting up animated textures. There's this one, which I had originally tried to use, but I found that it's a little bit, you don't get a whole lot of control over it. I mean you do, but you can't like it seems I think it's deprecated in the current up-to-date version of the engine, so it's not the best feature set. So I actually ended up not using this. What I did is I created a I guess like a sprite sheet, not really. It's like, so there's one frame here, one frame here, one frame here, one frame here, and then the last frame. 5 frames, all in one texture. And then it turns out, so next thing I did that you do is you create a or oh, here it is. So you create a material, a spatial material. I don't usually use spatial materials because I have a special surface shader that I'm using to mimic the Nintendo 64 look. But I can't do that with this because I'm not skilled enough to write my own shaders from scratch. But so you go into the spatial material particles nm, and you set the number of frames. And then if you don't, and if you want to loop, you check loop. If you don't, you don't check it. So this is a one-shot animation, so I don't have loop checked. And then in the actual animation, or not the actual particle system, you where is it? A lot of stuff here. You go to animation, and you choose the speed, and yeah. So if I set it to a fast speed, cycles through all the frames very quickly. If I set it to a slow speed, it goes very slow. I set it to 2 because I think that's a good balance. Anyways, that's probably it for today's video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.